You know, folks, there's been a whole lot of conversation about turning the temperature down. And there's been a lot of people pointing fingers from both sides saying you all need to tone down your rhetoric. And I've always said that there is a difference between turning up the temperature and trying to point out red flags and point out the obvious. I have called things authoritarian when they fit the authoritarian definition, and I've called things fascist and fascism when they fit the fascist definition. That's how I believe in doing it, and that's not me trying to turn up the temperature. When I watch fellow content creators on the left, I see the people I watch anyway, and I can't speak for everybody, but I can tell you the ones that I listen to are the ones that take a more level-headed approach at things, and they don't go out here and try to just spin a bunch of bullshit for clicks. And even if they do lean to the left, and even if they do share a lot of my views, if all of a sudden that's the road they go down, I back away from that. I want to listen to, voices of reason. I want to listen to people who are trying to bring the truth and the facts. I don't want to entertain conspiracy theories. I don't want to entertain ideas until we have facts around it. But when it comes to turning the temperature up or down, I really believe it starts at the top with Donald Trump. And he is someone who has cranked up the temperature full throttle during his first term, and even more so, 2.0 during his second term. We had him out here sharing memes about Chicago's about to find out what a war is all about. But it's not just that. It's Fox News. You had Brian Kilmeade suggesting we should kill the homeless. Then you had a story, I was reading a story just before I started this video about a shooting in Minnesota at a homeless camp. I don't know if the two things are connected because they've not found who did it yet when I sit down to make this video, so I don't want to make assumptions. But our words do carry weight. And when you say certain things, you have to understand there's people out there listening. And the people on Fox News, I hate to just put it this way, but there's no other way to say it. The kind of people that entertains Fox News, that entertains QAnon, are people that goes off of feelings and not facts. They're people that goes off of their emotions and not the truth. And so I want y'all to watch this old clip. This is an old clip. I think it's 2021. Ron Filipkowski from MeidasTouch shared this clip of Jesse Waters. Listen to the hateful rhetoric that he's spewing onto Dr. Fauci and tell me if this is turning the temperature up or turning it down. I have a feeling it's the former.
Are you going for the kill shot? The kill shot with an ambush, deadly, because he doesn't see it coming. This is when you say, Dr. Fauci, you funded risky research at a sloppy Chinese lab, the same lab that sprung this pandemic on the world. You know why people don't trust you, don't you? Boom! He is dead. He is dead. He's done. Now, how you do that? 30 seconds. That's all you need. 30 seconds. Now, you get that footage to us. You get it to Fox. You get it to Human Events. You get it to Breitbart. You get it to Daily Caller. You get it through the Turning Point pipeline. Imagine Tucker Carlson teases out of the A block, coming up. Brave college student confronts Lord Fauci at dinner. Exclusive footage, right back. Get us that. That's what we want. That changes the whole conversation of the country. I've authorized it. Just make sure it's legal.
So he thinks that type of rhetoric is what it takes to have a conversation. He thinks that's the way you go about it. And you use words like, he's dead. You use those kind of words. Get in his face. Confront him at dinner. And you think that's not turning the temperature up? You see, I see so much bullshit on the internet, and it really pisses me off because I've seen so many people on my side call out and condemn political violence. I could sit here and name names. I could name all sorts of people who I have sat and listened to them strongly condemn political violence. And then I could go over to the dumpster fire that is X, and I can find them sharing a video from a page that has like 2 followers, and it'll be someone celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. Well, I condemn that. That's not me. That doesn't represent me. It doesn't represent who I am as a person. It's easy to go out there and find someone doing these things and then label it on the whole group. But we have to get back to some common sense here and stop blaming like an entire group of people based on the actions of an individual. But these individuals that are suffering from mental illness, if we're going to have the mental illness debate, there are plenty of people out there who are suffering from it, and they hear those words that Jesse Waters says. They hear those words, confront him, kill him, he's dead. They hear those kind of words. And yeah, you could sit and twist it all day long. Well, but he meant it in this context. The people that are listening to him, not all of them, but there are people listening to him who is not listening to it from a reasonable standpoint. They're sitting back ready to go to war. They're sitting back saying, hey, just give us the signal. We'll go for you. They hear that type of stuff. It's dangerous. When they went to the Capitol on January 6th, they went there because they believed that the election was stolen from them. They believed that their vote was taken away. They were angry. They were pissed off. Donald Trump said, you're going to have to fight like hell if you want a country. He said, we're going to march down to the Capitol. And I've had so many people say, well, but he meant peacefully. He meant peacefully. It was just a big pep rally. It was just a big day of love. They brought a noose. They brought a noose. They were chanting, hang Mike Pence. And all hell broke loose on that day, no matter how you want to sit and slice it. And it broke loose because he was speaking to people who had denounced all voices of reason, who had denounced all logic. That's why when you say those kind of things to those kind of people, that's how it's going to hit. I'm sure there were people standing back. I'll give you this. I'm sure there were people who supported Trump wholeheartedly, who were standing back on that day saying, this ain't what we're about. This ain't who we are. We didn't mean for this to happen. We just came here for this protest. But then they wouldn't go on to condemn the ones that did do bad. And that's the part that has always bugged me. They would never condemn the wrongdoing coming from their side. Brian Kilmeade gets to keep his show after saying what he said about the homeless. Jimmy Kimmel gets kicked off the air for saying something that wasn't even wrong. And then Piers Morgan's on TV going, oh, he lied. He lied about that. No, he said they spent all of their time trying to prove that he was anything other than one of their own. They did. They still are. They're still trying to prove it. And when we show them one of their own doing something, they refuse to acknowledge it. When we show their own knocking down the doors and breaking the windows of the Capitol and putting their feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk, they thought those people should get pardons. And when people who do have mental issues, who are sitting there just clutching their pearls and ready to go to war, they look over and say, hey, all those people on January 6th got a pardon. So anything I do, I bet I could get a pardon too. And then when you have Trump saying there's no radical right, we don't have radicals on the right, the problem's on the left, won't look in the mirror, won't examine anything on their side of things, it's a dangerous time to be living in. It really is. And that's the type of rhetoric that they speak at their events. That's the type of stuff that they say. And that's the type of stuff Charlie Kirk was saying and would still be saying if he was here today. So if we're ever going to have a reasonable conversation, I always say that they're going to have to address stuff like that. And they're going to have to realize that it works both ways. You can't just sit and say that the problem is only on one side. You have to look at it, and you have to take responsibility and say, okay, let's look at the statistics. I did a video that came out earlier today talking about how the DOJ removed a study that showed that 75% of the time, I believe it was, it's people that are radicalized by the right carrying out the violence. But they removed that because it didn't fit their narrative. They won't look at the statistics. They won't look in the mirror. They'll just find some person on Twitter that's celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, and they'll say, that's the radical left. That's Democrats. That's the left. Well, it's not me. I condemn that bullshit. I didn't do that. I came on here. I condemned political violence. I said Charlie Kirk did not deserve what happened to him. I stand by that. I always will. It was something that should not have happened. But at the same time, like I said in the previous video, we can say that that shouldn't have happened, and we can condemn political violence, and we can still stand up against Charlie Kirk's ideas because they were bad when he was living, and they're bad now that he's gone, and they're bad when they fall into the hands of the next person that picks it up and tries to run with it. Those ideas will always be bad, and we will always be speaking out against them. J.D. Vance said that he would defend our right to do so, and we'll just have to sit back and see if he actually fulfills that promise, but I have no faith in the guy.